Hi everyone, it's Karen Costa, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how to outreach online students. So as part of this instructional continuity conversation that we're having in higher education, I'm seeing a lot of folks talk about teaching online. What I haven't seen is a lot of content around the importance of outreach in the online learning environment. So I want to give you a few tips that you can use to better support your students and to make it as simple as possible for you as well. So just a little background. In online learning, outreach is a really important part of what we do. And by outreach, I mean regular communications to our students, proactive communications to our students, and I also mean reactive. So something is off with one of our students, we notice that and we reach out to them. So a combination of proactive and reactive communications to support student learning and success. For those of you who are used to teaching land-based courses, you might rely on seeing your students in class to have those conversations. So this might be a little bit different. We're much more intentional in online learning about these types of communications with our students. Those communications might happen through our learning management system, our LMS, through email, through text, through phone calls, all of the above, okay? So I'm going to take you through this Google Doc that I created on how to outreach your online students. I'm going to share the link to the Google Doc in the comments for the video so that you can access it and use it as a checklist as well. So my first tip is to schedule your outreach. A lot of us might think like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to do that. What I have found is that you've got to put it in your planner and plan out the outreach so that you're balancing consistent communications without overwhelming your students. But it's very easy to forget, so you want to put that in your planner. Be aware of cognitive load. So we want to avoid the info dump of sending students every single thing that they'll ever need to know about what they need to do. That can be pretty overwhelming. So just be mindful of that. Try to space out communications as best you can. Try to be really concise in your communications to avoid overloading cognitive load. And last but not least here for the general tips, assume the best. We're in a crisis. We're all overwhelmed and stressed. We're all going through this, very strange time in the world in higher education. So just assume the best and be, as kind as possible, as flexible as possible, and offer students resources. So let's talk about proactive outreach, okay? So generally speaking, those of us who teach online will start the week, whatever that week looks like for our online courses, maybe it runs Monday through Sunday, we'll start our week with a message to our students detailing everything that's going on in the course that week, their expectations, reading, assignments that might be due, everything they need to know to succeed in that week. So an opening message to them. That might look a little different for you. You might have to get used to what you're going to define as the start of the week if you're shifting from land-based to online. But generally speaking, Monday morning is a great time to send out that message, maybe Sunday evening as well. And again, let the students know about all the activities in the course. And then consider some additional messages as needed. So let's say you send out your opening message on Monday morning. Maybe you'll touch base with students on Wednesday and share a resource that you would recommend that they check out on the week's topic. Maybe you check back in on Friday with some reminders as well. So, 3 to 4 messages. However, if you only get one out, that's okay. Do your best. We're operating in the real, not the ideal. So a word about reactive outreach to students. So if you notice something is up, you want to reach out to students early and often. So have some sort of system that you're going to use to track attendance, right? So our learning management systems will show us the last date of the student login. So for those of you who are new, and if you've got a learning management system in your new online course, find that and note the student's last dates of attendance. And if it's been a while, you want to reach out to them. Poor performance on an assignment is another reason to reach out to students. A concerning post in a discussion that maybe they're feeling overwhelmed would be another example of a reason for reactive outreach. Some of you don't have an LMS, which is a different ballgame. So if you're going to be working in Zoom, for example, holding live online sessions, you might try to take attendance in your Zoom sessions, and if you notice students aren't there, reach out to them. Be persistent. So sometimes students won't respond at the first email, so try again. And again, schedule time to do that. I also suggest that you try to use multiple means of communication, email, phone, text, as much as possible to reach out to students, but it will sometimes take a few tries. It can make all the difference, though, in whether or not a student will persist and succeed in our courses. So some tech to support you. Your LMS is your first go-to, okay? If you have one. Some of us aren't operating in that situation, okay? But you can typically email students from your LMS. Google Voice is another option. So you can create a phone number in Google Voice so that you don't have to give out your phone number to students, and you can both call and text students and receive calls and texts from students in Google Voice. So that is one of my go-to resources as an online teacher. And then the last resource I have to offer you is Remind texting service. So Remind is an app that you can use on your phone to quickly, easily text individual students or to send out a text to a class of students, which is a really convenient option that will save you time. I have found that students who don't reply to email after email after email, I'll shoot them a text and I will hear back immediately. So when people are going to kind of be in the wind here in this crisis, I would strongly encourage folks to think about using texting as a means of communication to reach our students. So I look forward to hearing your ideas and comments about what works in online outreach. Hopefully those tips get you started. Thanks for watching, everybody.